Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I have some currency to look at a little bit closer and talk to you about some national banknotes. These are among my favorite things for collectors to collect. I find them just fascinating. There's just so much history for each individual bank, and if you live in a certain area, you can collect notes from the area you live in, or you can look for a special name or things like that. So for those of you who don't know, the U.S. government chartered individual banks, and so you would charter your bank with your local name on it, and the U.S. would print the currency, and then they gave you a bank number. This is number 8181 from the First National Bank of Orange, California. And of course, it looks a lot like most bills with Abraham Lincoln in the middle and your serial number. And this specific type of note actually came in two different types. The small size notes, they come in what they call a type 1 and a type 2. And basically the difference between the type 1 and the type 2 is this. You take where Lincoln's at on the type 2, we'll put him right about here, and you would have a small, the charter number would be both here in big black, but then in small red letters to match this. It'd be on either side of that portrait there. And that's when it's on either side of the portrait, that's a type 2. So this banknote is a type 1. And we'll look a little bit closer at the booklet, the book on national banknotes by Kelly. And this is a real good book to use. And what you find that there are actually, here we are, where are you at? Ocean. So they're in alphabetical order. So here we are with orange. We go from Ontario to orange, and we have, so the FNB, the First National Bank of Orange, the National Bank of Orange, First National Bank of Orange Cove in Fresno. And those, so three different oranges. And this one, of course, you get the charter number right there, the 8181. The estimates in these books are not exactly spot on, but you can tell what they're showing here is that there was only 14 large size banknotes known to the record and 46 small size in the original charters. These are approximate values that they give. What's fun is they show you the total amount of money issued, the total amount that was still remaining out in 1935, and how much large size. So that means this is how much they know, this is how much that was not destroyed, but it doesn't mean you could actually find that much out in currency. So it's a pretty cool note, and this note in particular is probably worth a couple $100 if you're a California collector and you don't have Orange, California. If you love the color orange, maybe you buy it. Now, something that looks a lot less like what you normally see in currency is this national banknote. This is from the Warren. Here we go. So we're going to go with the Second National Bank of Warren, State of Ohio. Warren, Ohio. So this is among my favorite designs on a banknote. This big 2479 is the charter number. So once again, we'll take a quick look into the booklet and see the things that you don't know right away unless you're from a certain location is that apparently, first of all, there's some place called Wapakoneta, which I've never heard of before, but also you'll see that there are a number of banks from Warren. So it sounds really cool if you're not from Ohio. You're like, wow, and that's someone's first name. And then you realize what apparently there's a lot of Warrens. This one is 2479. So that's this guy here. And this is the county. And there's lots of different issues. Let me show you how that breaks down a little bit too. When you're reading this, these were actually printed in different sheets. So what this means is this was printed 4 notes that were $5 bills each. And then this series, the brown back, there would be 3 $10 bills and then a $20 bill at the bottom of the sheet. 1882 date backs, which is what this one was. Here you had 3 10s and then a 20. 1882 value back, 3 tens and a 20, 1902 plain back. So these are all the larger size currency. And then you get into the 1929, where's the small size. And they're showing 15 large size banknotes known from this bank. That number is probably a little bit higher than that in reality. But if you think about it, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different series. So if somebody, and let me see, 5 series, and so this is 4 times 2 is 8. So you've got 9 different sizes of banknotes that you could collect from this series, just from this single bank. And there's over 14,000 banks. So you can see no one could ever amass everything, right? It's a pretty wild undertaking. So what's cool about this, of course, are the imagery, the images. This young man is at the feet of one Benjamin Franklin. You'll notice the key on his little string that he's got floating around up there, and there he is flying. There's his key up, flying his kite. Look at the cool fibers in there. And then you can see this bolt of lightning kind of coming out of the clouds. There's lots of clouds swirling around. The allegory on the other side of the note is edited not for children. Sorry about that. This is America catching lightning, becoming modernized, catching electricity. And she is riding her eagle. The eagle has a very, I'm going to say bold look to it, but it's got a pretty good look to it. So this issue comes with a couple different designs. This one is known as a date back because it has this date on the back. I know, really clever, right? Always very clever. So I didn't mention to you on the other note. Yeah, maybe I did, but it's probably a couple $100 on the other note. This note here, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's probably a $600 note. But what I want to show to you is you've got the different autographs on here. And so you've got the secretary and the treasurer. These you'd see on most of the banknotes. Then you'd have the local bank's autographs. Now, what's interesting about this one is you'd have, sometimes you have printed, like that's just printed like any banknote. Then you'd have stamped. And this one is also autographed. Now, usually you'll have them autographed on both sides. You know, the cashier and the president of the bank oftentimes would both hand autograph. The president on this one is a stamp. And when I say a stamp, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, a stamp. Oh, that was really good. I should practice ahead of time next time. Yeah, a stamp. So somebody just stamped that right on there, but this one is an actual autograph. So Boyd here actually pen to paper had to hand sign all of these notes, and the president didn't want to hand cramp. These are all stamped on there. So anyway, pretty fun stuff. Actually, on this $10 bill, what's interesting is I've seen more $20 bills, even though the $20 bills seem to be by issue more scarce. The $10 bill seems to be a little harder to come by. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button up in the corner of the screen and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.